Major U.S. crypto bill faces growing uncertainty as passage odds drop. A major cryptocurrency regulation bill that was once viewed as the industry's best opportunity for clear federal rules is now facing increasing uncertainty in Washington. Industry leaders, lawmakers, and regulators generally agree that the United States needs a comprehensive framework for digital assets. However, with Congress running out of legislative time before the summer recess and the 2026 midterm election cycle, confidence in the bill's chances is beginning to fade. Clarity Act odds reduced to 60%. According to a research note released on June 6 by Galaxy Digital's head of research, Alex Thorne, the probability of the Clarity Act becoming law in 2026 has been lowered from 75% to 60%. Thorne warned that the Senate must advance the legislation before lawmakers leave for their August recess. Once Congress returns, political attention is expected to shift heavily toward the 2026 midterm elections, making it much harder for major legislation to move forward. Although the Senate Banking Committee and Senate Agriculture Committee have both advanced versions of the bill, several important steps remain before it can become law. These include a full Senate floor vote, possible amendments, reconciliation of different committee versions, final approval by the House of Representatives, signature by President Donald Trump. Crypto industry increases pressure. As concerns grow about delays, more than 200 crypto companies and organizations have joined together to push lawmakers toward action. Major industry participants supporting the legislation include Coinbase, Ripple, Kraken, Circle, Andreessen Horowitz, Paradigm, Consensus, Anchorage Digital. The coalition is urging Congress to establish clear guidelines defining which crypto activities fall under the authority of the SEC and which should be regulated by the CFTC. The group also wants protection for developers of non-custodial software, simplified disclosure requirements, a single national regulatory framework instead of state-by-state rules, support from Washington. The legislation has gained support from several influential policymakers. Scott Bessent has repeatedly argued that regulatory certainty would strengthen America's leadership in digital assets and provide confidence to financial markets. Meanwhile, Cynthia Lummis continues to advocate aggressively for the bill. On June 8, Lummis posted, "The Clarity Act passed committee. The floor is next. We did not come this far to quit at the 5-yard line." The controversial bad actor rules. One of the most debated parts of the Senate version involves so-called bad actor provisions. These rules would create screening requirements for crypto exchanges, brokers, dealers, and token issuers seeking registration under the new framework. Potential disqualification factors could include certain felony convictions, SEC enforcement bans, CFTC sanctions, fraud-related court judgments. Supporters say these measures are necessary to protect investors and prevent future scandals similar to the collapse of FTX. However, critics argue that companies with past regulatory settlements could be unfairly locked out of the U.S. market permanently. A major unresolved issue is whether firms that previously settled with regulators, such as Binance following its $4.3 billion agreement with the U.S. Department of Justice in 2023, would be permanently disqualified or allowed to regain eligibility through compliance improvements and regulatory oversight. Race against time. The bill faces a significant procedural challenge. Because of Senate rules, supporters will likely need at least 60 votes to overcome a filibuster and move the legislation forward. Senator Lummis has warned that failure to pass the bill during the current session could delay comprehensive crypto market legislation for several more years. With fewer than 2 months remaining before Congress enters its summer recess, the coming weeks may determine whether the Clarity Act becomes the most significant U.S. crypto regulation in history or remains another unfinished legislative effort.